Okay, we will get there, I promise. Okay, so everybody can see my screen. I've got us started on a recording so that your study abroad offices have a copy of the presentation and the questions and all of that sort of thing. So we're on recording. But welcome to Virtual Tea Time with Harlaxton College. So I have my cup of tea here, and hopefully a couple of you have a cup of tea, or if not, you will be convinced to do so by the end of my presentation. Because tea and Britain are a big part of what we'll talk about today. So welcome to Harlaxton. This is a lovely picture of the front of Harlaxton Manor. My name is Kaylin McAllister. I am the International Admission and Program Specialist at the University of Evansville, which doesn't sound like I work with Harlaxton, but I do. So the University of Evansville operates Harlaxton College, and I work with international admission to the university, as well as with all of our study abroad programs, including and mostly Harlaxton. So I'm the person here in the US who deals with the applications and works with your study abroad advisors, all of that kind of thing. And then we have a full staff at the Manor. Our new principal, Holly Carter, who used to work here in the US office, has just arrived at Harlaxton and is kind of the main contact over there. But I'll be sort of your main contact as you're considering Harlaxton. I went to Harlaxton as a student. I was a student there in spring 2014, which sounds like a long time ago now. And I've gotten to go back and visit a couple times since starting to work with Harlaxton. Obviously a big fan, and I'm excited to talk to y'all today. So since we are here at the Kentucky Virtual Fall Fair, I did want to see, and I guess I don't have a great way to see this, but I know we have students here from EKU, from Murray State, and from WKU. Does anybody want to like pop their microphones on and tell me where you're from? What schools we have?
I'm from oh. I'm from Murray State.
WKU.
Woo!
Yeah, Western here too.
Mm-hmm. Krista has a little survey, but oh, sorry, what?
I just said Western.
Western. Awesome. Well, I'm glad that you're all here. Krista has the survey that she's put in the chat for you to let everyone know officially what school you're from, as she said, so that if they're doing any sorts of drawings or we'll be sending out more information after the fair. So definitely fill out that survey form so that we all know where you're from and all of that. I love doing the Kentucky Fair myself, side note, because I'm from Kentucky. I'm from Madisonville, Kentucky. That's where I grew up. Actually, Webster County, Kentucky. Y'all will know where that's at, kind of middle of nowhere. And then I went to University of Evansville as a student, studied at Harlaxton, like I said. So, yeah. So we'll go ahead and get started here. So sort of a quick introduction. So what is Harlaxton? As I said, it is that lovely manor house that you saw in the first slide. It's located in Grantham, England. It's about an hour from London by train, and it was built during the Victorian era. So it looks like a castle, but technically is actually a manor house because it was built as a person's home. Someone has asked to see the survey link again. It should be just up there in the chat.
I just posted it again.
Awesome. Thank you, Krista. You're awesome. Yeah, so like I said, Harlaxton's built as a manor house. It was actually built as a guy's home back in the day to sort of show off his wealth. It's been through various sorts of things throughout its history, but has been used as a study abroad center for about 50 years by the University of Evansville. So I'm calling this our virtual tea time as sort of a symbol of Britain and of your Harlaxton experience. One of the big things that we want you to get from your time at Harlaxton is the experience of being in Britain and what that means and why tea is important and all of these sorts of things. So like I said, grab your cup of tea and get ready to learn a little bit more about tea in Harlaxton today. So, let's see if I can. Okay, so here's my video that I have for you. I asked our British faculty to tell us a little bit about tea. I thought that it was probably as good as anything for you all to hear from them. Who doesn't love to hear a British person talking about tea? So I have a video here that one of our faculty sent us. This is Dr. Edward Bujak, who is one of our British Studies faculty, and he will tell us about how to make a proper cup of tea, assuming my video works. So bear with me a little bit here to see if this will go. Okay, can you hear it? When I hit the start, could you guys hear the sound from it? That's my main concern.
No.
No, that's what I was, darn, that's what I was afraid of. Okay.
It didn't move though either.
Oh, well, let's see.
Nope.
Nope. Okay. So we'll have to do it another way. I was afraid of that with like the screen share that it may not work. So
That's a shame too, because Bujak is the best.
it is such an awesome video. So I can pull it up. I've stopped my share and then I think I can try to share it again. So
you might need to click optimize for sharing. It's one of the options when you're sharing a video.
okay, let's see if I can do it now. So can you all see the video now? Yes?
Yes.
This worked when I tested it, but of course it's never quite the same. So let's see. Can you hear it?
I couldn't hear anything.
Okay, let me try this again. Sorry, okay, here we go. Now I think we're probably good.
Hello, I've been asked to do a video on the classic cup of tea.
Yes?
Yes.
Woo! Thank you guys so much for your patience. I'm so sorry, but I feel like you need to hear from our British faculty about making a cup of tea. So here we go.
To begin with, we boil a kettle. The trick is boiling hot water. Absolutely boiling hot. 1 mug. 1 tea bag. Tea bag in the mug. Let the kettle boil. It's the hot water hitting the tea bag that releases the flavour, so you can't microwave it. That's how you do it. We add milk. You don't put milk in before on a tea bag because then it goes icky. And that is a cup of tea.
So now you know from an actual British person how to make a proper cup of tea. This was really fun because it is something that I didn't know a whole lot about before going to Harlaxton and before having sort of a British experience. Julia, thank you for letting us know that you're popping back off. Sorry, all you saw was the tea video, but hopefully that's kind of fun. And we'll go ahead and get back onto the presentation. So, like I said, making a proper cup of tea is a very British thing, and hopefully inspires you to have an interest in going to the UK and learning a bit more about British culture.
Hello.
No, I don't want to see the video again. Okay, here we go. So like I said, hopefully you are interested now in having a real cup of tea. Dr. Bujak is one of our most popular professors at Harlaxton. I had him for my British Studies seminar, and he was amazing, as you can tell. And we'll talk a little bit more about Harlaxton, sort of in the lens of tea throughout the presentation, about sort of the different options and sort of a symbol for British culture. So we're going to go through the different program options for Harlaxton first. So the British Studies semester, summer session, internship semester, summer, and enterprise semester. And then talk a little bit about some of the common Harlaxton experience things that you have no matter which semester or summer program you choose. So that's kind of a quick overview. Like I said, definitely feel free to pop any questions in the chat as we go along, and we'll go ahead and kind of get rolling here. So the British Studies semester, so like I said, Dr. Bujak is one of the professors for this, and this is our classic Harlaxton experience. And this is probably what you've heard about if you've heard of Harlaxton. And it is probably our most common semester for Harlaxton. So think of it as our traditional cup of tea. And I'm so sorry. So think of it as your traditional cup of tea. It includes a 3 or 6 credit hour British Studies course, as well as 2 or 3 other courses. So our British Studies course is taught by our British faculty and is sort of the centerpiece of the Harlaxton semester. It is centered around ideas of identity and what it means to be British, what it means to be part of the UK. And it is a really fascinating class, even if you are not interested necessarily in history. It traditionally was just a 6 credit hour course, so it was like this giant course that went through British history from the Celts to the present day. It's been sort of broken up into 2 3-credit courses that happen in sort of 2 halves of the semester, because not everybody necessarily needs that full 6 credit hours of British Studies. But either way, it does focus on those same things, and one of those 2 courses is required if you're doing the British Studies semester. It's a great introduction to being in the UK and learning more about the culture and history of where you're staying. Then you pick from 2 or 3 other courses in this semester to get to a full course load of 12 to 15 credit hours. Usually, some students take 18, but usually it's just 2 or 3 other courses. Some of those are taught by our British faculty. So Dr. Bujak, who you saw in the video, offers a very popular World War II class. Very, very interesting. But we also have, an English class that's focused on Shakespeare. We have a British politics class. A whole variety of other courses that are offered by our British faculty, really focusing on Britain and really interesting things that you might want to take. And then faculty from schools all over the US also apply to teach at Harlaxton. So we'll often have some faculty from U of E and also from WKU, from other schools that will teach at Harlaxton in the semesters as well, and whose teaching sort of determines what courses we're offering. So depending on what courses are being offered, you can kind of figure out when for your major is a good time to go. We always have a lot of sort of general education type courses that are offered. So when I went to Harlaxton, that's what I did. I took sort of some general education. I took a theater class and a marketing class and the British Studies course. So that's pretty common, but it kind of depends on who's teaching and what you're interested in taking. With all of your courses, lots of field trips are a big part of the Harlaxton experience. So we definitely hope that you will take advantage of those and enjoy those. They're included in your Harlaxton fees. For British Studies, there are usually 2 or 3 field trips that are included, really getting you out so that you're seeing what you're learning in the classroom. But for your other courses too, there'll often be really interesting field trips that happen. And then weekend travel. We'll talk a little more about weekend travel here in a little bit, but that's definitely a big part of our traditional British Studies semester. So let's go ahead and move on along here. I thought I saw something had come through in the chat, but I have not had a good time seeing it. So
Caitlin, that was me. I just let you know that one of our Harlaxton alums actually was able to join the session. So Caitlin Price is here to answer any of your questions about what it's like to be at WKU at Harlaxton. So, you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Hi, I'm Caitlin, and I studied at Harlaxton in spring 2019, and I did the one you were just describing of the British Studies semester. So, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much for being on. Hopefully, between the two of us, we can kind of answer questions about what it's like to be at Harlaxton. So, thank you so much. The summer session is another popular way for students to go to Harlaxton. So if British Studies is our traditional hot cup of British tea, the summer session is sort of our iced tea option, a little more chill, a little less traditional, but still really fun and exciting. So it's your iced tea option. This summer we have 2 5-week summer session options. We're really excited about this. Traditionally we just do 1 5-week summer session that runs sort of the month of June, and then we have another session that runs the month of July this year. Partly because we had to cancel this past summer, we've added on a second session. So in theory, a student could go for 2 5-week sessions, could spend a whole 10 weeks at Harlaxton in the summer with about a week break in between the 2 sessions. So that is super exciting. You can take up to 2 courses in each session, and there's a whole variety of courses that are offered in the summer sessions. It is everything from exercise science to environmental science to, I always recommend the theater class. We have an intro to theater class that's offered every summer that is really wonderful. Our British Studies faculty will be offering some British history and culture classes. So sort of a mini version of the British Studies course that's offered in this semester is actually going on this summer as well. So like I said, you could take up to 2 courses in each session. So in theory, you could go for 10 weeks and take a whole 4 classes, 12 credit hours in the summer is pretty good. I think most students will probably take 1 course in each session, maybe 2 courses in 1 session. But there are lots of really great options out there for this summer. And it is a fun, light way to have a Harlaxton experience. A little shorter than the semester. You still get some great field trip opportunities, some great travel opportunities like we'll talk about later. But lots of great options for this summer session as well. So that's summer. Internship semester or summer. So think of this, if we're going on with our tea metaphor, that it is your chance to make traditional tea, not just for you, but for and with actual British people. So as opposed to just learning about how to make a cup of tea, now you get to go out and do it and experience it. This is something we're really excited to be offering as something new at Harlaxton. We were actually scheduled to have our first internship students at Harlaxton this summer. Obviously we did not have that going on, don't have any students at Harlaxton right now. So we're really excited to get this going again for next summer and fall. We are working with local businesses to place students in internships, and they will be sort of customized to each student because we're new to this. But we have a lot of really great contacts from the local area. So because our Harlaxton students do volunteering in nonprofit organizations, we'll have some opportunities in nonprofits with other local businesses. It is going to be a really exciting opportunity. This past summer, we were supposed to have an exercise science kinesiology student doing an internship in a local clinic. We were supposed to have a health services administration student working with the Red Cross in the UK. We were supposed to have a marketing student, I think, in a local nonprofit. So just a few of the options that are out there. But like I said, they will be the placements will be customized to each student depending on what your interest is. We have a really wonderful internship coordinator at Harlaxton who will be working with you to figure out what type of thing you're interested in doing, what options there may be in the local area, and how we can get you connected into that. We'll offer this as an option for a 3-hour internship or a 6-hour internship. Sort of depends on what credit hours you need for your major, what you're interested in doing, how much time you would be spending interning, all of that kind of thing. In the semester, you would probably do an internship for 3 or 6 credit hours and then take in another 2 or 3 courses, probably including 1 section of the British Studies course, since that is sort of a core course at Harlaxton. In the summer, that would usually look like you would do one session of a course, maybe 2 courses, and then an internship in the July session of the summer, just because then you have a little more time. The main thing to know with the internship is that you do have to be enrolled in as many credit hours of classwork as you are an internship. So to be able to do a 3 credit hour internship, you also have to be in a 3 credit hour traditional class as well. So there is an additional visa associated with that, and there are requirements about the coursework. So that's how we make the internships work. And then enterprise semester. This is something very new to us as well that we're excited to get started. I think we're starting this in the fall. So think of this as you get to set up your own tea shop, literally. That is one of the things that we are hoping that our students will do. So we are really excited to start offering some opportunities for students to get involved in creating their own businesses, enterprises at Harlaxton. So Harlaxton is obviously a beautiful building full of students who have wonderful ideas. We want to give you chances to make those ideas happen at Harlaxton in the local area. One of the first ones that we're doing is called Embrace UK. So Embrace is a student-run marketing agency at the University of Evansville. Some of our students in marketing and graphic design got together and have been successfully running sort of an advertising agency for the local area. They've done some really cool work for local businesses and nonprofits, and they would like to expand to do this at Harlaxton. So we are working with students from there and some students from a university in the local area as well to get set up to do a student marketing agency at Harlaxton. So again, to sort of work with local businesses for students to be able to get out there, and if you're into marketing, graphic design, video content, any of that kind of thing, to like put it to work, start working with clients, and really build a marketing agency sort of from the ground up at Harlaxton. That is supposed to be starting in fall 2021, so you can see it in the course descriptions for Harlaxton. And then the others that you see up here, Harlaxton Manor Tea Company. This is something that we're really excited and would love to do. A student brought this idea to us as well. We have quite a lot of people that come and visit Harlaxton, so whether that is your friends while you're staying there, your parents, grandparents, whoever, and people from the local area who want to come and take a tour of Harlaxton, get to see the manor. And students said, well, why can't they have sort of a traditional British afternoon tea here? Why don't we have a space that like students can do, sit and have a cup of tea, anything like that? So this is something that we are excited to hopefully get started in the next couple of years as well. We would want this to be student run. So if you have any interest in entrepreneurship and starting a business, any interest in tea, we would kind of like let the students roll with where they want to go with that. Similarly, Harlaxton Manor Weddings and Events. Again, we're a beautiful building. People like to come there. And we host a lot of weddings and events, even more just recently. So we would love to have some students get involved with the wedding and event business at Harlaxton. If you are a student interested, again, in marketing, in event planning, in historic preservation, how that works with events and historical groups that come to Harlaxton, this may be a really cool opportunity for you. We would envision this as being sort of like a course, so depending on whether your institution would have it set up as like an internship course, or at the University of Evansville, we have a course code called Change. It's part of our change-making designation, which is basically about entrepreneurship and innovation. So you could have the course listed like that, so that you would be getting credit for that experience. And then again, take another 2 or 3 courses and perhaps one of the British studies. So that is something really exciting and new that we are doing. So now I have a quick poll for you. And let me see if I can get it out here. Okay, hopefully it has popped up for you. So tell me, which Harlaxton program of those were you interested in? Ooh, a lot of British Studies semester coming in. They're all exciting, so hopefully we get some for all. So wait, I still have a couple people that haven't done it. Awesome, awesome. We'll go ahead and close it out. Looks like mostly the British Studies program. So you guys can see my little results here now, hopefully. So British Studies, definitely people are interested in that. That is like our classic Harlaxton experience for sure. And I'm excited to see some interest about the summer session and about internships too. So awesome. Any questions so far? While I'm kind of paused. No? Okay, well, let's go ahead and get back on here and take a look at some of the common aspects of the Harlaxton experience as well. So essentially, no matter your cup of tea, whether you're going for iced tea or sharing your tea or having traditional tea, there are some things that are always true of having a Harlaxton experience. So I just want to talk a little bit about those, and Caitlin will be able to help me, I think, with some of this as well. Life at the manor. So this is obviously one of the coolest things of being at Harlaxton, is that you are actually living and studying right there in that beautiful manor house. It does become your home for the semester or the summer, or whatever amount of time that you are there. So essentially it was a big old manor house, and so the fancy staterooms that they used to entertain in and that sort of thing become your classrooms while you're at Harlaxton. And then several of the upper floors of the manor and the carriage house have all been converted into student housing. So the carriage house is like a 2-minute walk from Harlaxton, and it is where the carriages came through on their way to the manor back in the day. All very nice student housing now, not far from the manor. I lived in the carriage house when I was a student, and I actually really enjoyed it. Caitlin, where did you live when you were at Harlaxton?
I also lived in the carriage house. I did really like it because I know sometimes some people wouldn't even have to leave the manor at all throughout the whole week, which is very convenient and nice, but I enjoyed being able, that little walk outside, that little bit of nature, so it was nice.
Oh, that's exactly what I always tell people, is that you think oh, I want to live in the manor. And living in the manor is pretty cool. But when you live in the carriage house, you have to go outside every day, which doesn't sound like it would be that exciting. Maybe now in pandemic world, people understand this a little bit more, but you can go a whole week at Harlaxton, like you said, and not actually leave the building because everything is sort of contained right there at Harlaxton. So that includes our eating space. So the refectory is what it's called, which short for cafeteria. You can see that up in sort of the top right bubble there on the presentation. It's kind of a nice space. All of your meals are included when you're at Harlaxton, so you get 3 meals a day, cafeteria style. If you're going out on a field trip or traveling on your own, you can even request a packed lunch. And there's always vegetarian options. They will work with you on gluten-free, allergies, whatever you need. Always a salad bar, always different options for cereal, sandwiches, that kind of thing. When people ask me about the food, I always say you eat a lot of potatoes. Must be a British thing, lots of potatoes. But I don't mind potatoes, so I was pretty happy with that when I was a student. Like I said, pretty typical cafeteria food. And then the refectory even opens up in the evenings as sort of a study space. You can still put on movies and things like that in there as well. There's some other nice common area student spaces. So down in kind of my bottom bubble there, you can see one of the student lounges at the manor. So you can see sort of couches, places to hang out, the pool table or snooker table, as they call it in the UK. And so there are lots of different spaces like that that are great for hanging out, meeting up with friends, doing whatever you're going to do. We have a library at Harlaxton that's got some great study space, books that you can check out. Help with doing any of your research papers. They have all the books you need for your British Studies courses and papers. So that's super nice as a kind of quiet study space. And then various other nooks and crannies. Somebody was mentioning earlier that there are indeed secret passages at Harlaxton that you get to explore. Basically the whole manor sort of becomes your home and you get to know it pretty quickly. You can also see down sort of in the bottom picture, those 4 banners there. And this is something students always get very excited about. So this is our Harlaxton houses. So yes, think Harry Potter houses. We have them at Harlaxton too. It is not the same 4 houses. but we do have our own 4 houses. And you do take a sorting quiz as part of your Harlaxton application to find out what house you're in. Caitlin, what house were you in?
I was in Mercia, which is the green one on the little in the picture. We unfortunately did not win the house competition, but we still had a lot of fun.
That is the most important thing. I was in Mercia too when I was a student, actually. It's a good house. We didn't win my semester either, but that's okay. It is a really fun way. It kind of mixes everybody up so that you get to know people from different schools that are at Harlaxton, who may be studying different things than you are that you might not otherwise know very well while you're there. So they do competitions on everything from like soccer to dodgeball to, they always do a knitting competition and a trivia competition, and you can get points taken off if you don't do your checkout on time and some of those sorts of things. So it is a really fun way to kind of build some community at Harlaxton, and definitely adds to the Hogwarts vibe. So pretty fun. We run a shuttle to and from Grantham. So Grantham is our closest town to Harlaxton. It's about 10-15 minutes down the road. So you can walk to Grantham if you want to, and it's nice weather. It's not too bad of a walk, but we run a shuttle back and forth. Usually it's sort of every hour on the hour during the working day. And so it's pretty easy to get into town. That's where all of our main shopping, restaurants, tea shops are, and as well as the train station is in Grantham. So it's sort of your main hub of where to go for different things going on. Another thing I didn't put on my slide is that we have a Meet a Family program that's really popular at Harlaxton. Caitlin, did you have a Meet a Family?
I unfortunately did not. It filled up before I was able to get my application in, but I had a lot of friends who did it and loved it, and they just had so much fun going over to their families' houses and eating tea, and just they'd always bring back little goodies from there, and I'd always get to share that with them. And so it's a really cool program if you're able to do it. Sign up early so you get a family because there's a limited number.
There's a limited number of British families that kind of take our students in. You fill out an application for it as part of your Harlaxton application as well. I'm talking about your interests and how often you want to visit with them. A lot of the time it's more like your British grandparents than your British parents. It's a lot of older people that are British Meet a Families, which is super fun because they love to spoil our students and, like she said, get them candies and sweets and take them out to dinner and cook for them and help them do their laundry and all sorts of things. So it is a really, really cool way to get out into the local community and get to know local people, local places while you're at Harlaxton as well. Field trips. So seeing how the tea is made, continue with my tea theme. There are not actually tea plantations in the UK. You're not actually going to see how tea is made. I feel like I should offer that as a disclaimer. But you do get to really get out in the world and see a lot of what you're learning while you're at Harlaxton. So as I mentioned, there are some that are included for British studies. So as you are learning about like the Norman conquest of England, you get to go see a Norman cathedral and a Norman castle in Lincoln, which is not very far from Harlaxton. So we try to make sure that with all of your classes, you have a chance to get out and see what you are learning. And those, we try to make as many of them included as possible and offer you some really cool opportunities to see what you're learning in the classroom. Weekend travel, so taking your tea to go. This is a very big part of Harlaxton as well, and probably what many of you have heard about with Harlaxton, that we do run 3-day weekends pretty much every weekend while we're at Harlaxton. And we've actually just added a week break into the middle of the semester as well to give students an opportunity for longer travel. Yeah, Caitlin is like, oh, wow, missed that. Yeah, we're really excited to have a week break in the middle of the semester. We used to do 2 4-day weekends, and now instead of the 2 4-day weekends, we have 3-day weekends every weekend and 1 week off in the middle. So very good opportunities to get out and see the world. Obviously right now in pandemic world, this is a little less possible, but hopefully by the time everything is running like normal, hopefully by fall, summer, travel will be more of an option for you. We run college organized trips every weekend to cool places within the United Kingdom. So these are optional. You can book on and go with a group from the school. And the whole idea of those is to kind of get you off the beaten trail to places that are a little harder to get to on your own. So I always like to talk about, I went on the North Wales trip as a student. I had no expectation. I did not know what would be in Wales. And it was beautiful, mountains, ocean, hiking, really nice things. It was a very beautiful trip. And it really exceeded my expectations and ended up being one of my favorite trips while I was at Harlaxton, just because it was someplace that I never would have otherwise gone to on my own. So we try to do that as much as possible with our Harlaxton trips. Caitlin, did you go on any school-sponsored trips?
Yes, I did. I went on like the classic first trip to London. That's one of the first weekends. And I was really glad I did that because it really helped kind of ease me into like getting to travel and like getting to plan a few things, like obviously, but not having to like have the stress of getting to Harlaxton and then having to plan my first hotels and trains and everything. So that was a really good like ease into it. And then I also went on the Lake Districts trip, which is also another really popular trip that a lot of students go on. And I highly recommend that one because like you said, it's very hard to get to the Lake Districts like by yourself if you're wanting to do independent travel, just because it's kind of like further out there. It's kind of like a British, like, I'm trying to think, like national park kind of, like it's very, like naturey, which I really enjoyed because I'd been traveling to a lot of cities. And so it was really nice to get that other side of just the nature. And it was so much fun. I went into it also not knowing what really to expect since I hadn't really been to many like countryside places, more naturey, but I got a hike. I did the activities package that was also included. So we got to go kayaking and we also got to like rappel down from some cliffs. So it was very fun, very active and very outdoorsy. And I really ended up loving it because it was like a very different like trip for me.
Yeah, we try to have the Harlaxton trips kind of be that way. It's places out in the countryside, places that are hard to get to on your own, places in the UK that you probably wouldn't otherwise necessarily see. So you see a little bit more of the country that you're living in. We're really excited this summer. Also, we're including a Brit Rail Pass, which is a rail pass that allows you to get on and off trains within England as much as you want for the whole session. So literally, like, you could hop on the train and go to York for the day for free. So we're really excited about that. We're setting up all of our field trips to also go off of trains. So your field trip group would also like take all of your Brit Rail passes, go on the train, do your field trip, but then it also gives you the chance to travel within the UK more affordably, because we know in the summer sometimes it can be a little more expensive, just because it's like peak tourist season. So we've included the Brit Rail Pass this year, which we're really excited about. And then, like Caitlin said, you can plan your own travel as well. So when I was a student at Harlaxton, I think I did about 50-50 of like college sponsored trips and trips on my own. But like I visited Germany and Spain and Paris all on my own, and planned all of those trips, which is a really, really cool experience. Definitely gives you a lot of independence, trying to figure out, oh, this train and plane and all of these other things. But it's a really, really cool way to get to see the world a little bit while you're at Harlaxton too. So that is weekend travel. So hopefully after all of this, you're thinking, sign me up, how do I do it? So I wanted to have like a few like sort of quick next steps for you. So the main thing, first and foremost, is to talk to your study abroad advisor or peer advisor at your school. I know WKU does some really awesome like peer advising. We have some for Harlaxton, but at any school, definitely make sure you talk to your study abroad advisor. They can help you figure out how the finances work, your scholarships, all of that kind of thing. They can also help you figure out how your courses will transfer, what classes you need to take, what we're offering, and how it works for your school. Because those are big deciding factors about when you go and how it works. So talk to them. We'll have their contact information up here in a bit. And then apply to your study abroad office. So all of your offices will have their own application process that you need to go through to be approved to study abroad, with GPA requirements, essay requirements, various things that you need to do there. So do that first and foremost, and then they will help you be approved and apply to Harlaxton. Our main things on our application are asking more about like why you want to go to Harlaxton, what type of classes you want to take, that kind of thing, because we want to know why you want to go to Harlaxton, and we know that you've been approved by your study abroad office to do so. So that's kind of how that works. Usually you apply about a year before you want to go. So right now I'm mostly getting applications sort of for next fall and next summer. Now, this is a weird year, so everything is a little behind. People are having a little more trouble planning. So obviously we will take applications a little later, and definitely go with what your study abroad office policies are and all of that kind of thing. first and foremost, and we will work with you from there. So I've got another poll for you here, just to see how much you were listening. So let's see if I can get this launched. So some Harlaxton trivia. Can you all see it? Okay. Ooh. Rita. I'm so sorry if my dog barks. The joys of working from home. Okay, and most people have voted, so vote now or wait and you'll see the answers in a moment. Okay, so we'll close it and let's see. So it looks like most people are right. We are indeed about an hour from London by train. We are about 2.5 hours driving. So it's actually, we have a very nice high-speed train line, very conveniently for us. So 1 hour is correct there. And what era Harlaxton was built? I only mentioned this once at the beginning, so I'm impressed that so many people got that one right. But it was indeed the Victorian era. So it looks like perhaps a Gothic or Elizabethan building, but it's actually newer than that. It was built in the 1800s in the Victorian era. And almost everybody's right too on the length of the Harlaxton summer session. Yay! So that is 5 weeks long, and we have 2 of those sessions. So that is sort of a little bit of trivia. You guys did pretty well. So now I've got a little bit of time here before we wrap up for what questions do you all have? What do you want to know about Harlaxton?
How much does it cost to attend? And what do our scholarships from our school apply?
Yes. So, so actually this is probably a much better question to ask to your study abroad advisor. You're from WKU, right? Yeah. So Caitlin and Krista will be able to tell you more about that. So essentially what happens is that like you pay WKU and WKU pays Harlaxton. So what you pay WKU is worked out between you and WKU. So I actually do not have any say in any of that part of it. But they, I think that they allow your scholarships to go with you. So.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I can just say my experience, it's always, you know, there's no guarantee. It could be a little different for everyone, but I have like an academic merit scholarship at WKU and that did apply. And it's like you just, it all is on top net. So it's exactly the same way that you pay like your WKU bill. They'll put your Harlaxton bill in there and you pay it. So yeah, my academic scholarship was able to transfer, so that did help. So.
There you go. And Krista put in the chat too that most university scholarships and federal aid apply. So definitely talk to them about all of the details and ins and outs of it, for sure. And then somebody has also asked how many students usually go in the summer. This past summer, we had about 100 students signed up for the summer session, which was super exciting. In the past, it's usually been around 70 to 80 students. So hopefully this next summer, it will be even bigger because all of those students who are not able to go last summer, those same courses are being offered this summer. So that's why we're able to do 2 summer sessions. So let's hope for 100 students in both sessions. We'll see. In the semesters, it's usually around 120 students. It kind of varies. Our fall semesters have been a little smaller the last couple of years, and our spring semesters have been bigger. I don't know why everybody wants to go in the spring all of a sudden. So it kind of varies based on the semester and what courses are being offered, what people are interested in. Ooh, and there's a question, I think, for you, Caitlin, in the chat here about how much more expensive it was than to go than to stay at WKU.
I don't remember the exact cost, like how exactly they transferred, but it wasn't that much more expensive. It was just, I think, a couple of thousands difference. But yeah, and it also just depends. I mean, besides the tuition, like I know I like was very like thrifty on the way I spent for like my trips and traveling. Like I just wanted to really get a good deal. So it is too, like the amount that people spend does vary because obviously some people don't really want those like I don't know, fancier experiences and don't want to stay in a hostel, would rather stay in a hotel. So there is a lot of like own planning you can do within yourself to save money if you are looking for like a less expensive like Harlaxton experience.
Mhm. Yeah, travel makes a big difference in how much you travel, where you travel, how expensively you travel. So students, yeah, that varies quite a lot. I worked like the 2 summers before I went to Harlaxton, and then like that was my like travel budget for myself while I traveled, and I don't think I even spent it all. And the exchange rate was much higher in 2014.
Yeah, that's exactly. I knew for like a while that I really wanted to go to Harlaxton and study abroad. So I just worked and like literally saved like all that money. So I just had a pretty good amount that I was willing to spend to get to do the things I wanted because I knew it was a once in a lifetime thing.
Yeah. What other questions do y'all have? To get into the program, does everyone get in? So it sort of depends on the number of students, the semester, and the first and foremost thing is if you're approved by your school. So you have to go through WKU or EKU or Murray's study abroad process first and foremost. So if you get through that, there is usually space for you to go to Harlaxton semester or summer. It kind of varies. We haven't been sold out the last couple of years. We try to maintain enough space for students. So if you get through your study abroad office, you'll probably get through Harlaxton. Yes, Krista says we recommend you apply about 1 year in advance. Exactly, we do too. So we are, like I said, starting to form up our fall class and our summer class, I guess. So the summer 2021 program, so we are actually running a very limited spring semester at Harlaxton this next semester. That has just been announced and we are working out all of the details for it. It is very limited on spaces. So if you have an interest in going in spring 2021, talk to your study abroad advisor as soon as possible because that is going to be a very limited option. So for most people, summer 2021 will be the first option that you're able to attend. Other questions? People another couple minutes here. Caitlin, do you have any advice for students who would be going to Harlaxton?
I would say just like go in with an open mind and be ready that, you know, things will be like kind of different like than you're used to just like attending the university you do now. But like I said, it definitely is one of the best experiences of my college experience. And it really is kind of like a once in a lifetime opportunity to be in a country for that long, getting to live in a manor house and like living and like eating and like going to class all with like the same group of people. So it's really cool to kind of see like as the semester went, how close like we all became and like how we all are just like connected by like Harlaxton now. So I really recommend it. If you guys are super interested in it, please apply and do it.
Thanks. Yeah. Well, I've had a question too about how they're handling COVID. So right now we don't have any students at the manor this semester, so we did cancel for the fall semester. And then, like I said, we have just announced we're running a limited spring semester, so there will be a lot of different health and safety protocols in place for the spring semester, including some quarantine, single rooms, distancing measures, all of that kind of fun stuff. Very similar probably to what you're seeing on your home campuses right now. Fortunately, with Harlaxton being sort of all contained as one building, it's a little easier for us to kind of keep a hold of the students to be able to enforce that 2-week quarantine that you have to do when you enter the UK, some of those sorts of things. So we are taking it very seriously, but are really excited to be able to still give students a Harlaxton experience, even if it looks a little different than sort of even what we've presented here. We want to be able to still have students at the Manor still having a really cool British experience, even in the middle of the pandemic. Will there be travel in spring 2021? Somewhat. So it will be limited just because of all of the travel restrictions around the world right now. And we're still working out exactly what those limitations will be. So, and students who have already signed up for spring 2021 or who are interested in signing up for spring 2021, we'll be doing like some town hall meetings about health and safety measures. We will be, getting all of that information pushed out to students here in the next couple of weeks, just to make sure that everybody is aware what they're doing, how it works, and how they can help keep the Harlaxton community going while they're there. When can you apply for spring of 2022? I think it's open now. Typically, we would have the course lists posted right now for spring 2022. I don't think that they're up on our website right now because we weren't certain if we were running spring 21 until last week. We just got that approved. So the spring 22 course list should be posted probably again here in the next couple of weeks as we're getting everything sorted out. So you can apply now, but at least for Harlaxton, you don't know what classes are being offered, so you might hold out and wait. And I don't know about the WKU study abroad application. Question? Well, we filled this time pretty well. I was a little nervous about that. Well, if we don't have any other questions, feel free to go ahead and sign out. Go make a cup of tea properly with a kettle. That is like a common thing for British people. Go make a cup of tea with find a kettle, or at least get your water boiling. Make a nice cup of tea. Dream about going to Harlaxton. I know we're all in kind of like crazy times right now, wherever you find yourself. I do hope that you're dreaming a little bit of going to Harlaxton and making that your home sometime in the future. Feel free to get in touch with your study abroad advisor or with me anytime if you have questions. So thank you guys.